The objection, I'm sorry. Leading.
I've asked him for his observation as to impairment.
Well, if you want to ask different, I'll sustain that objection, but you can ask another question.
She was asking for approximately $4 million. That
Objection,
balance
Your Honor.
then was
Foundation,
increased.
Hearsay. Lack of foundation. Hearsay.
These are requests made by Ms. Heard and her counsel in a conversation, in communications.
Here, you want to approach for a minute.
Certainly.
I've served as a trial judge for years, so I want to take this opportunity to look at this case from the bench. And I want to welcome in now, in studio again today, former DOJ senior attorney, former federal prosecutor, Tammy Allison. Tammy, thank you for being back on air with us today here in studio. And there's so much I want to talk with you about the courtroom and the management of the courtroom. So let's start with this and some of the courtroom antics. We've seen different behaviors, different things happen, laughter, some of the things being said, not just Johnny Depp laughing, and they've shown him kind of covering his mouth, laughing as he sits at the counsel table, but also you hear people in the gallery laughing. Before we listen to some sound, tell me your thoughts about if it's appropriate or not, or if you've seen that before.
I think we've all seen it before, and again, thank you for having me. But I don't think that it's appropriate given the context of this. This is a very serious matter. We are talking about domestic violence. That is what the core of the issue is in this trial. Was Johnny Depp defamed by that op-ed that Amber Heard wrote that alluded to the fact that she was a survivor of domestic violence? That is not a laughing matter. So I don't think that it's appropriate. However, we're all human, so things happen, and even though it's a serious matter and it's court, at times certain things that are being said, they're funny, and the gallery is going to respond. And sometimes we also see the jury chuckle along as well.
Right, right. I don't disagree. It happens. Let's see how Judge Azcarate has handled it in this courtroom.
I'm so pathetic when it comes to knowing what movies I've done. I'm sorry. I just, I don't watch them. I feel better not watching them. I couldn't, I mean, what was the question again?
How many order in the court, or I will have you removed. Understood? Thank you.
And I think, Tammy, the right thing to do, she has to control the courtroom. And if there's going to be an outburst like that, and it's interesting to me because if you listened, it sounded like a lot of female laughs, maybe nervous laughter. And we know a number of seats have been given away and that people stand in line for a very long time to get into that courtroom. So I appreciate that she says to them, you're going to be removed if you're going to react. We can't hear from you. All right, let's move on to another topic. Social media has been all over this, and you might have noticed Johnny Depp has snacks. Now, at one point in the trial, I thought it was just gum. But yesterday, we saw what appeared to be, sour gummy worms in front of him. And you can see it now on your screen. Take a look, because that's on the table. Not in a bowl, not in a bag, on the table in front of Johnny Depp. So I know what my thoughts are, but let me ask you first about eating in a courtroom in your experience.
It is inappropriate. It is not tolerated in any courtroom, whether it's state or federal. It's something that I have never seen before. To casually eat minimizes the seriousness of the courtroom and what we all know, showing extreme deference to the judge, the third party fact finder, and that means no eating, no drinking, no cell phones or outburst. And I've never seen that before, and it's shocking.
And I know that you have federal court history experience, and I have state superior juvenile court history and experience, and I agree with you. I've never seen it either, Tammy, nor do I allow it unless there's some emergency circumstance, because as an attorney trying cases, I was never allowed to have it in the courtroom. Now, the curious thing that I wonder is, has everyone been given permission to do that, meaning both parties, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and then does it actually extend to the jury? Because I have to believe there's a reason that he's allowed to do it. One viewer said, oh, I bet the judge hasn't noticed. No, I'm gonna tell you right now, I think this judge has noticed every detail. As a judge, where you're sitting literally on a bench and can see the courtroom, you see everything that's happening. So what reasons, if any, can you think of that perhaps an exception's been made, the court has said it's okay?
The only reasons that I can think of that would not extend to other individuals is if Johnny Depp and his attorneys filed for a reasonable accommodation under the Americans with Disabilities Act. And I don't know if he has any blood sugar issues as to where he would need candy, but I'm pretty sure that even if that was the case, there are alternative ways to treat any issues with a reasonable accommodation other than sour gummy worms.
But you know, you raised a really great point, because again, I can suspect this was handled in some pretrial motion. That's what we do as judges. We have to decide based on motions filed before the court even starts a jury trial, what things am I going to decide? And he's an addict by his own admission, and a recovering addict. I think that I've heard and have seen some information that perhaps he does need to have sugar at his disposal in order to eat that. And so I don't know what that means or whether or not it was an accommodation. But I guess my point for viewers, would you agree with me that the judges probably made some kind of ruling on this, or else would tell him, Mr. Depp, you need to put your snacks away?
You know, I don't know at this point, because with these snacks,
Tammy, don't say that.
These snacks, girl, I don't know any judge that would say, go ahead and have some gummy worms. No, like, there are other ways to deal with it. So I think the judge may have granted some type of an extension, but I've never seen anything like that for me to think there was actually a ruling. And we would see it on the docket, even if it was under seal.
I just can't imagine that it's just a willful, I'm going to eat in court, but maybe I'm just hopeful, because I would never allow it unless there was some need for that accommodation. All right, let's look now together, Tammy, at these two teams, because we know high-profile, high-dollar attorneys. So Team Depp, let's talk about Team Depp first, and the attorneys representing. It's an 8-person team. You can imagine how much he's paying for every hour that they are preparing and in court. Lead counsel, I want to point out one thing about Benjamin lead counsel, and that is he's with a Washington-based firm, and his expertise is in commercial litigation, class action cases. I think you would say, as well as I would, that a lot of times those are the kinds of cases that might settle. And so when I've been talking about where are the trial skills, there's nothing that says these attorneys have ever been trained in trial skills, have taken a class in trial skills, or focused on trial skills. But back to the point, Benjamin Chew is from another state. Let's talk about the fact they have all these other attorneys, and we'll note, as you all look on your screen, some of these attorneys are from Virginia, and as a result, that means that a DC attorney can sit there during a Virginia trial and try a case. Talk a little more about that.
So there's so much to talk about that. So there's something called pro hoc vici, and that's when an attorney that is not necessarily licensed in one state can practice before that state if they have an attorney that is licensed in that state, so to speak, waiving them in. Or that attorney can waive in on their own if they meet that state's requirements. But given the fact that Team Depp, his attorneys do not necessarily seem as if they have trial skills, especially given their background, the Washington, D.C. attorney, the background in commercial litigation, it kind of answers some of our questions as to why we're hearing the type of questions on direct that we're hearing, why sometimes there is no redirect, even if they're planning on recalling the witnesses, because these are skills that trained trial attorneys know to take every opportunity to clear the record so that we can preserve it for appeal. So it is concerning that he has these attorneys that don't necessarily have the trial skills.
And trial attorney is a specialty for sure. You have to know the skill set. All right, quickly, let's look together at Team Heard's attorneys. 3 attorneys, by the way. Lead counsel is actually from a firm based in Virginia, and that makes good sense. Only 3 attorneys, but again, the amount of money being spent on these attorneys, I know that we need to take a break, but any last thoughts on the Team Heard group of attorneys?
Team Heard group, same with Depp. You need attorneys that are experienced and skilled in litigation in order to bring about the most effective evidence in order to put your case in chief on and to prevail.
All right, well said. You're going to stay with me. Coming up, more on the Depp trial. Elon Musk has said he will not testify, even though he does appear on Amber Heard's witness list. And during testimony, his name's been mentioned several times. How can he do that, not go, I mean, he's supposed to be a witness? We're going to discuss that. Later, we're also going to talk to the police chief who helped find the teenage suspect accused in the death of 10-year-old Lily Peters. The allegations against the boy are gruesome. The chief will tell us how the town is coping with it.
I'm starting to think we're related. Thank you so much.